Well, hey, everybody, it's me, Mike Alley, and thank you and welcome to the Concert Spot Live. It's another Wednesday afternoon, so here we are, not doing shows on the road, but we are bringing you some of your favorite artists. Got a good one today, too. So if you've not been with us before, the Concert Spot is part of 48 Live, is a concert promoter across the country, and in the meantime, we're having fun doing this. So we hope that you'll follow us on all of our social media. We're at The Concert Spot on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even on YouTube. You can subscribe and find all our videos there. And of course, you can go to our page at theconcertspot.com, our website, and sign up to be an insider. Insiders get emails with pre-sale passwords and other cool things throughout the year. So we hope that you will do that and be a part of what's going on. So speaking of what's going on, you can also leave your questions and comments down below here. And we might, if we've got some time, put it on and talk to our guests. Speaking of our guests, one of our favorite people. We've done a lot of great concerts with this guy back from the days of American Idol when he was on there to now where he is one of the top tier Christian artists. We're just going to bring him in and welcome Danny Gokey. Danny, welcome to the Concert Spot Live.
Mike, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, we're sitting here. So
Yes, we are.
it's what we do a lot these days, right? All the Zoom meetings and all the live streams and all of that. But we're getting through. How are you and the family handling everything?
Man, we're doing good, actually. I enjoy being home with my kids and my family. That's the silver lining through all this, is that I actually really enjoy being home, and I haven't been home all that much. So, for the last few years with all the touring. So this has been a blessing for sure. And there's a lot of stuff we have to deal with, like trying to figure out the whole financial ramifications. But the good thing is that, God has proven himself faithful in the past, and why give up now? Believe in that.
Yeah, that's it. I was actually just texting with someone today, and I'm very much known as an optimist and an extrovert, and somebody was saying something kind of complimenting me on that and trying to find the good in things. And I said, these times will test even the best optimist. And if didn't have my faith to lean on, I don't know how I'd be getting through this with the same attitude.
Yeah, and that's the exact thing, is that I passed a few tests before I got to this point. Doesn't mean, maybe if you fail, like passing the test, what I mean of like finding out that God is a provider and that I, there's nothing I'll lack. And so, maybe some people haven't had, those tests, and now this is the test. Lean into the Word of God. Get to know who God is, because you'll know that he never leaves us nor forsakes us, and he provides all our needs according to his riches and glory in Christ Jesus.
Amen to that. Well, Danny, we're talking here on the Concert Spot Live a lot about touring. The folks that are watching are fans of concerts. And so what we wanted to do is take people a little bit kind of behind the curtain, behind the scenes on what's happening when you're out on the road and what it's like to be an artist out on the road. So you have, gone from, you've been on big giant tours, like the giant, multi-act Winter Jam tours. You've headlined your own tours. But a lot of what happens, they see you on stage, they see all of that. Touring life is unlike almost any other kind of life in the world. You're out on the road for days of the week, 3-4 days of the week, away from your family, dealing with all of that. When you got married and when you were going through getting all this touring rolling and this, what was that conversation like with your wife? Did she know what she was signing on board for when she jumped on the Danny train?
She said she did, and she lived up to it. In all honesty, she's been nothing but great. We talked about it when we were dating, that this was a possibility. And when I got married, I wasn't really touring a whole lot. And it was about a good, maybe 2 years after we got married that my touring started picking up and traveling. But with that being said, is that she kept her word, and, has it been challenging? Yes. But she knew that God was in it. And so we knew that God would give us grace.
And then kids come along, and that's just an added extra, I mean, it's a bonus to, of course, have your family and all of that. But, what is that like? Because for you, it's now not just the husband, but now you've got the father. Now you've got these little ones that you're like, okay, it's Wednesday night. I got to get out on the road. I mean, we grabbed this from your Instagram. That's a great shot, by the way. And of course, we haven't even talked about your fur family there that, you also have to leave. But I mean, that's got to be in some way difficult to kind of pull yourself away from the kiddos.
Well, that was the difficult part as we were moving forward, was the whole kids aspect. And that was the part that was weighing on me the most. And so, I find it interesting, I needed this. I needed this time with my kids. Behaviors have really evened out for the good, and my kids are really enjoying me being home. And I honestly, I enjoy being home. And so can I just say, like, this has been a blessing in disguise. And it doesn't mean I'll never tour again, but I needed this pause to kind of really sit down and figure out the emotional health of my kids and my family. And, a lot of times we can just kind of slap a label on, oh, they're okay, God's in this, I'm doing this for Jesus, without sometimes really taking a moment saying, God, is my family okay? Are my kids okay? Am I saying I'm doing this for you, but they're suffering? And am I opening my ears for you to say, wait, pause a minute? And so it's been really, really refreshing to have this time with them. And I think in the future for touring, I'm really going to start asking the Lord those questions. Should I be doing this? Are my kids okay? Like, I never asked those questions, unfortunately. And so now I kind of know how to ask those questions, and, man, it's really changed the way I think about things.
Well, it is being, it's two different pieces of the same thing, which is not only are you a musician, because of course that's how musicians, most of them make their living, is you've got to be out on the road. That's how you do it. It's how you reach your fans and all that. And then the second thing is the ministry aspect, and both of them are paired together. And this particular ministry is about producing this art and then taking it to the people. So those are difficult, decisions, because there is an economic aspect to all of this. So many years being a promoter in the business, this as well, you get that question. It's like, well, how can you charge money for what you do? And we always ask back, and we go like, this is their ministry and their livelihood, just like you pay your pastor or your worship leader at your church or whatever. I said, these are all professional musicians and crew and truck drivers and people out on the road, giving their life and time away from their families to bring you something special.
Yeah. And I want to speak to that, because I think it's normal that people think like that. If we look at it from the gracious side, is because they tend, church is free. So I guess I had to because I used to get kind of like, dang, people don't understand. Why do people think that way? But then I put myself in their position. I was like, well, church is free. And maybe the gospel was free, although Jesus paid the price. But I love how you're able to break it down to them, because sometimes it just comes down to maybe just a lack of understanding. We pay a lot of money to create the show. These musicians who are leaving their families, the truck drivers, the bus drivers, the amount of fuel, the production cost, all comes at a cost. And what we really do is we're the ticket price we sell is much, much narrower and much smaller, ticket price than the big acts out there. It's like the secular music acts. But when you get that into them, like, this is ministry and that you're supporting the ministry, it seems like people really start understanding, and they start understanding that not only are you going to ticket to get entertained, to get ministered to, but you're also blessing a family, many families.
Yeah. Well, Danny, based on what you were just saying about that and thinking about this, I got to bring this question that just came in from Nancy. Have you ever thought about being a pastor?
Oh, Nancy, that's a really, really great question. I actually have, and I really believe the Lord has showed me that I will be pastoring from, I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but I will be pastoring in the future. I don't know if it's going to be a normal church or if it's going to be, like maybe an online community because of some of the projects I'm working on. But I mean, I only want to do it if God's in it, because I'll tell you that pastoring, it is a big responsibility. But here's my answer. My answer, like Isaiah, yes, Lord. If you can use me, yes. But Lord, I'm asking for an outpouring of grace, because it takes a lot of grace to deal with the job of a pastor. My hat off to him.
So let me ask you, Danny, because we had this question come up too, based on what we were just talking about. And by the way, I want to applaud you for having your own news service, the Danny Gokey News. Would like to know, which of your children is most upset when you head back out on tour?
Let me tell you, Victoria was the last. So I said they all get upset, but Victoria was the last one. Okay. When I was doing during quarantine, I was still kind of doing some writing sessions with people who I trusted. And my daughter looked at me. She goes, "You always leave." And in my mind, I'm thinking, Victoria, I've been home so much this year. What are you thinking? But it got me thinking about, like, well, am I at home now too busy? So I don't know, but they all get pretty upset when they find that I'm leaving.
Well, Danny, let's talk a little bit about being on the road. So when you're out there, as you've progressed over the years of touring, most people, I think, are very fascinated about that whole life of living on a bus. Oh my goodness, this must be cool. You go from place to place and you get to do this. Do you enjoy bus life, or you wish you didn't have to do it that way?
I'll tell you this: bus life is better than van life.
Yes. Okay.
But I remember bus is awesome and it's a great experience. Now, when you live a majority of your life on a bus, it can get a little bit inconvenient. But there is something about jumping on a bus, when you have 4 kids and a wife, and all these people who need you. And after a really busy day of being with the family, jumping on the bus, going into your bunk, putting on headphones, watching a movie. I mean, it's a pretty awesome experience to know that, hey, for the next X amount of hours, I'm just checking out, and I get to, it gets exciting at time.
Are you a stay up late in the front lounge talking guy, or are you a, like you said, go hit the bunk and be up early the next morning guy?
I'm a stay up late in the lounge talking guy.
Okay. All right. Has it those conversations? I've been privileged a couple of times to be on a bus on a tour for a couple of dates, and it gets very interesting up. I mean, it can get kind of goofy and people get a little punchy that late at night, but you can also have some really great conversations.
Man, we've had some really brilliant conversations about the Lord, about culture, about politics, about family. The front lounge is like a big therapy session between everybody.
Well, Danny, we've got a couple of other things on here. Some of them not tour related, but I promised this one especially I'd get it up there. So, and Madeline's one of your biggest fans, and she wanted to know what the story was behind the Fighter song.
Hey, Madeline. Fighter. So let me kind of give you an idea. Fighter, because there's like a big meaning behind it, but I think I got kind of to a point in my life where I was tired of going through the trials. The Bible talks about that we should count it all joy. I wasn't counting it all joy. I was getting irritated, frustrated. I felt like I had passed the test. You ever just kind of look at your life and you're like, you know what, God, I've been through some tests. I passed. Can we just have it easy going from this point out? but the test kept coming. And it's almost like when you have that type of thinking, like the enemy's like, oh, great, he's weary, let me go attack him harder, And I remember I just was really kind of just frustrated with some things and just kind of overwhelmed by, I felt like just a lot that was going on. And I remember just thinking, man, if I'm going to go through these tests, I'm going to come stronger. I'm going to stop complaining and feeling like I don't deserve to go through these tests and feeling like that God should create a different life for me. I'm going to start jumping into these tests and put my boxing gloves on and learn the lessons I got to learn and begin to grow the faith that needs to grow. And so that was the idea behind Fighter. So it really ministers to me to this day, and I hope it ministers to a lot of people.
Danny, one of the things, and it's funny you talk about the fighter aspect, and I want to say that we have had an experience that it's weird to say I was privileged to be a part of, because it was such a unique touring experience. But we happened to be the promoter of a concert last year with you in Richmond.
Yeah.
And it ended up making national news. But can you tell us a little bit about what happened at that concert in Richmond?
Man, I was getting ready for my show, and I turned and in the green room that I had was a really nice green room, but there wasn't a lot of space for I carried a wardrobe case and everything I need to get ready for the show. And there wasn't like a table for the steamer. And so I was getting ready to steam my clothes, and I turned the steamer on, and the steamer goes into a boiling point, and it starts steaming out. It's kind of a cheaper steamer, so it's just like a one function. You plug it in, it starts boiling, and steam starts shooting out. Well, as I picked it up, I dropped it, and I was in my socks. I didn't have shoes, and I just took them off. Big mistake. And the thing dropped, and boiling water shot at my feet. And I got 3rd-degree burns on one foot and 2nd-degree burns on another foot. There it is. And I remember, like, we tried everything we could to get this show to work. And I have my feet under a shower. I'm sitting on a chair, have my feet under this shower for 45 minutes. And anytime I pull away my foot for like 2 minutes or 1 minute, it would just burn like crazy. So finally, this wasn't working. We had people going out trying to give us, over-the-counter medications that we use to try to make the pain go away. It wasn't going away. Finally went to the ER, the urgent care. We get there, trying to explain. I got my road manager with me. We're trying to explain, like, hey, we have a show. And we have people waiting right now. We had, 1,200, 1,400 people waiting for this show. And I'm like, this show has to go on. The crowd doesn't know what's going on. And dude, it took us some convincing. We were going to be there about 3-4 hours. Thank God, finally someone listened to us. They crammed us in, put lidocaine on it, wrapped it, gave me a prescription to, some hydrocodone. And man, on the way there to the urgent care, it was torture. On the way back, all of a sudden the pain was gone. I didn't even take any pain medication. I did the entire concert sitting down, and I did it in a spinny chair, as people saw. My feet wrapped up, and I'm doing. You see that? If you guys look at that chair spins. I was when the band was going side to side, I was going side to side. When we turned around, I turned around. It was definitely a moment to remember.
Well, and that's the thing, Danny, that I can't, I remember I'm sitting out front near box office, and they're telling me, hey, Danny hurt his foot. That was how it first came to me. Danny hurt his foot. So we're going to have to take the VIP meet and greet and move it to the end of the show. Oh, okay, sure. No problem. We'll take care of it, And then it was like, well, Danny burned his foot. And it was like, Danny burned both his feet. I'm like, what? It was, Danny's on the way to urgent care. And it was like, what? And major props to Cody James, who was opening for you, who did every song he knew and some others he didn't know, just to kind of fill some time. The audience was so great in waiting, because the show pushed back. But I do remember you came back, and it was like, he's going to go on stage, he's going to sit. We got that spin chair. And then you got on stage and started, And that's when I found out that you didn't have any medicine in you yet.
No.
And they had to go get it while they had to go prescription while you were on stage. And then I'm watching you, and honestly, it was you were sitting there and you were doing the show with your feet wrapped, but then the guys come out and start doing the dancing, and then literally you start tapping your feet and moving around, and I'm like going, how is he doing that? Because I just couldn't believe that you did it the entire show. And I'll never forget, Danny. I don't know if you remember. You came off literally. We walked you off stage. They had a wheelchair there. You sat down in the wheelchair and you looked at me and went, "Was it okay? Did anybody leave?" And I looked at you and I said, "Nobody left." Wow. I said, "It's not the way that you ever want to have to do a show." I said, "But people will remember this show forever. Those folks had an experience with you that night that they will never forget." And, and I know it ended up being a couple of weeks or more before you were fully healed, right?
Yeah. It took some time. And I actually didn't even go through the whole bottle of hydrocodone. I mean, I don't like taking medicine because I always feel like medicine's covering up, although when you're in pain, but the pain really subsided afterwards. Even though it was 3rd degree and 2nd degree burns, I still have scars on my legs from it and on my feet.
Well, that was just one of those, you remember certain things over the time. I don't think our team will ever forget that night. That will be, that will go down because, we honestly, when we heard the 3rd degree burns, I'm like, oh, we're canceling the show with everybody sitting there. And you were just like, nope, we're going to do this. And, it was,
people spend all this money on these tickets. And I was like, we got to honor that, And so God gave me the grace to do it, That's
well, it was an amazing night. And wanted to talk to you about the new single that you've got out, Love God, Love People, off haven't seen it yet, the project you've got. Amazing song. I remember when I think I got sent either an advance link to this song, and I just remember the first time I heard it and I said, that's huge and especially for this time right now, what we're dealing with is to push away all the other things aside and really just follow what Jesus said. Yeah,
dude, can I tell you, I couldn't have timed this out any better. And I don't mean that for my own personal gain. I mean the message, it's the whole mission of our life is to love God, love people. It's that simple. It's not about paying bills, although bills will be paid and work has to be done. It's about, putting first things first. But in the culture and the climate that we're in right now, man, people's hearts are growing cold. And so I'm really hoping that this song gets out there and just really reminds people. I just think people need a reminder. Let me say it like this. And I might get a little controversial here, but I'm just going to do it. I like hearing about people's experiences, near-death experiences. You can believe it, you cannot believe it, but I believe people, so I was reading this one story of this one guy who never believed in God a day of his life. And he was a Jewish guy, and he got real sick in his early 20s. At 22, he passed away in his own home. And he shares about this encounter that he had with God. And one of the things that stuck out to me about this encounter was that when he saw God, he said even the most devout atheists, when they know, they're going to know there's a God in the afterlife. But he said this, he said, the difference between, heaven and earth, though, is that the greatest thing, when you see God in all his glory, the greatest thing is that you realize that love is the greatest privilege that we can ever have. He said angels wished they had the ability to get the human experience where they can make their own decisions, have their own free will, but to love people freely. And he was comparing the world, things that are celebrated is building your own businesses, having as much money, keeping up with the Joneses, being better than every person around you, having as many, partners in life as you can, and living, immorally any way you can. But he was saying that in that moment, he realized, he's like, I wasted my life. that was such a low form of living. And I just want to remind people, as you're, if you're getting weary in well doing, people are cutting you off on the road, and you're getting tired of like sacrificing. Get God's perspective. Get Jesus' perspective. The greatest thing, the greatest privilege we have is to love the hurting, the broken, and the hard to love. Mm-hmm. This is why do you think God specializes so great in this? He and I love this guy was given a second chance, and he's a devout, he had used the Bible to back up every part of his heavenly experience. But he was just talking like he's just so glad he has a chance to love now, because everything was about him building his own life and living and being as selfish as he can, because that was what felt good to him. But his perspective, I just think, needs to encourage people right now, because some people, when you see this stuff on the news, you're like, man, I'm tired of people accusing me of this and tired of this going on and that going on and this person doing that. You can buy into that and start hating people. Can I tell you, step into the heavenly wave. Step into you're going to live a life. I mean, I'm telling you, the privilege that we have to turn the other cheek and to love people. And I could keep going this far. I feel like I don't have words to say it. Don't get caught up in this culture. Keep loving God and allowing his love to permeate you so strong you can't help but love the hard people to love right now in our culture. This is how we're going to change the world.
Well, Danny, that's a good word. By the way, we should also mention there for a while you had a really cool idea, which was to put that on a mask. And Sandra obviously has one. There you go. The Love God, Love People mask. So
I'm in my manager's. We're having a meeting right now, but I'm in her office. That's why I see all this stuff on the walls. We got, vision for what we're doing with Danny Gokey Entertainment and our TV show. But can I tell you guys, this right here spreads a huge message. You can get these at DannyGokey.com. And I'm being shameless in my promotion. But if you have to wear a mask, wear a message. Share this. Get these out. Send them to your friends. It helps me. I'll be honest. It helps me at the same time, where I get to support, my family through these, because we lost all our work for the entire year. We have jackets that say, but we have jean jackets that say "Love God, Love People." But you guys, I walked through the airport. I was walking to the airport. You should have seen. It didn't matter what people's race were, what their religious beliefs were. I got a lot of smiles. I could see their eyes like this, and I could see people pointing at me, and I could hear them through the mask saying, "Hey, I love that thing." So I got to see if I can put this on again. But let's see. It's so hard to work with these things. Anyways, woo, that's a whole pitch right there. But it really means a lot to support and to share that message.
That's it. And yeah, you mentioned, like you said, at this time, I mean, everybody's, not working in the live events industry right now. And so if you can support, we'd love for you to do that and head over to Danny's site. So Danny, we're rolling out of time here. So I'm going to jump into our 5 questions. So there are 5 kind of shotgun questions to kind of wrap things up. But so real quick, other than your Bible and your phone, what's the one thing you don't go on tour without?
Exercise clothes.
Okay. All right.
So I can go to the gym.
All right. Fill in the blank. I know it's a good day when I walk into catering and see what?
Ooh, and see. Oh man. Dang. Like usually a good dessert, like apple cobbler or something, that just blows my mind. We had this one catering company that did soul food Sundays. Man, I loved soul food Sundays, man. It was great.
Oh my God. Yes. I remember that on the Mandisa tour.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was good. And that's why you need the exercise clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Have the catering. So you have a great load-in day. Everything's going smooth, and you've got the afternoon free off-site in a city you haven't been to. What's your activity? Where are you going off-site?
Usually, basketball is the off-site activity, but it depends on what city. Like if we're in Portland, we're going out to check out, or coffee. Basketball and coffee was like my thing.
All right. Other than, when you're on the road, you've put the headphones in, you listening to other music playlists, you're listening to podcasts, you're listening to audiobooks.
I'm listening to podcasts all the time.
All right. And finally, what's your favorite road snack? What do you got to have on the bus with you?
Oh, favorite road snack. Oh man, it's hard to name one.
Well, name a few then.
Okay, so typically, like you go to the organic section of Kroger, and
Right.
you just start kind of grabbing like the specialized chips and the crackers. They got some crackers that are like $5 for a small box of crackers, but they're like made out of like these really great ingredients, like some.
So like the ancient grains.
Yeah, the Asian
Things
grain, that's
like-
exactly what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's anything organic that, and then like sometimes buying coffee from like already pre-made and like almond milk coffee latte bottles. Yeah,
Ah, catering.
I know I could eat right now.
Hey, Danny. Hey, I want to thank you for spending some time with us today. We appreciate it. We cannot wait to get back out on the road and have some live concerts with you, man. You see Danny's website there and all Danny's socials. So go hit him up, grab some masks, and share that message with everybody. Danny, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mike. Bye, everybody.
You got it. Hey, thank you for being a part of the Concert Spot Live. We are here every week, every Wednesday at 3:00, and looking forward to next Wednesday. Our guest next Wednesday, it's going to be great. From Sidewalk Prophets, David Frey from Sidewalk. We're so looking forward to talking to David about life on the road with the Prophets and all of that. And he's got not only in the last couple of years a new wife and a new baby, so we'll be talking about that as well. In the meantime, hope that you will follow us on all of our socials, and you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're all at The Concert Spot, and of course our website, theconcertspot.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there you can get all these videos as well. So, hey, thank you for being a part of today, and we appreciate you so much. We will see you next week.